أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. We feel very blessed to be here today in our fellowship in Ramadan as we strive to do what it takes to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the only basis of our success in the world and in the hereafter. Last time we were exploring together the three degrees of suhbah, the 3 degrees of excellence in subha fellowship with our fellow travelers as we travel in the world. And these were the first, lowest level is that we should not be the source of harm to anyone. We should never be the source of harm to anyone. What we do to prevent people from experiencing us as a source of harm. And just a very interesting example, for example, that, when you go to the masjid, you just eating certain foods, and when you go to the masjid and people, have a smell that is unpleasant, just very subtle ways of making sure that you take actions that ensure that you're not a source of harm to others. You're not a source of harm to others. This, we said, brothers and sisters, is the lowest level that all of us should strive to achieve and to actualize on a daily basis, especially in this month of Ramadan, which is a month in which we strive again to attain the gift of taqwa by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the second one is to go beyond that, to go beyond just stopping yourself from being a source of harm to others, but also being a source of benefit to others. We spoke about this to some length, and so many ways you could be experienced as a blessing to people, in your family, in my family, at work, at the masjid, in the organization. How would you behave to make sure that people perceive you and experience you as a source of blessing, source of goodness in their midst? And the final one we did was the higher station, the station of the Siddiqeen, the truthful ones, which we must all aspire to, of course. And that means you should cultivate the trait of being able to put up with the hurt that comes from other people. I remember this hadith involving our great master Abu Bakr Siddiq, the only instance in the entire seerah that I see the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam being upset with him. It's a very enlightening episode. Basically, somebody came and was insulting Abu Bakr. He insulted him and insulted him. Abu Bakr didn't say anything, radiallahu anhu. And all of a sudden, he returned the insult. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he got up and left the company. And later on, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he spoke with the Prophet. Says, this man was sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this man was insulting me all the time. He was insulting me. You were there. And then when I returned, when I tried to defend myself, you got up and left. What is the matter? And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him gracefully that when you were taking the insult of this person, this rude person, this person was insulting you, the Malaika were actually they were taking vengeance, but they were replying. The Malaika were in charge of defending you. As soon as you insulted back, the angels, they left. And I cannot stay in a place where the angels have left. So just imagine this, Abu Bakr, just a slip, been insulted, and he is very patient. He's very, very patient until at some point he returns the accusations or tries to defend himself, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam couldn't stand it anymore. He left. On account of what? Because the Malaika left. So when they left, he too, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he left. Because he would not be in a place where the Malaika are not present. So that is the state of the Siddiqeen, the people that cultivate the ability to be beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by manifesting this ability to 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 um, to not return evil for evil, and also, in fact, to return good for evil. These are the three stages, my brothers and sisters. And really, when you look at the history of Islam, this is a secret that explains how Islam was able to spread in 100 years almost to all corners of the world. Muslims like a Muslim like a big star, like a huge star moves from one place to another, moves from Medina maybe and goes to some place in the world, and is really a star because it carries with him some attributes that are so wonderful that they are irresistible to the human heart. And so places like Indonesia and Malaysia and other places, there was no jihad, there was no sword fighting, but there was something more powerful than the sword in that context, and that was the traits and the beauty of the people, those stars that traveled to these places, to the extent that the people were perceived in them such incredible attributes that their hearts were inclined to them, and they could not help having a heart inclined to them. And so not only they wanted to be with them, the people wanted to be with them, but also ended up wanting to be like them, and therefore adopting their ways of life, which is the deen of Islam. The same thing obtained in my country, Sierra Leone. There was no jihad, there was no fighting. You have the Susus and the Mandingas and the Fulanis, traveling long distances to settle in areas where they did not understand the local language. They themselves are mostly poor. Sometimes they just have a small kettle where they have their wudu and the tasbih. This is the history that really happened, and this is also the history of my ancestors, my great grandfather when he migrated to Sierra Leone from as a Mandingo, and they come to places and but there's just something about those people that was so striking about their character, their stellar character, that the locals not only welcomed them, they also gave them accommodation. They also ended up giving them spouses, and could not help turn into the way of life. There was really no preaching, much of a preaching that happened. I remember growing up in my village. There's no preaching really that takes place. It's just there was something about the people that are called Muslims that was irresistible to those who watched them, and therefore desire to be like them, and thus become Muslim. So my challenge for myself, and I pose that challenge to you, brothers and sisters, is for us to look in the mirror, and see where we fit, what we see when we look at the mirror. Are we in the first category? Are we the people that at least we don't cause harm to others, Muslim or non-Muslim, in a way that is not legitimate? Or do we see something better than that in the mirror? Do we see people that actually they take up the vocation of giving, of benefiting people, of being a blessing to the people, being a blessing to their families, being a blessing to the people they work with, being a blessing to the organizations, not hurt, source of blessings and not source of hurt. So this is what I look for. Is it there? Is it what I see in the mirror when I go into my heart, when I travel into the inside of me and I see my behavior? What am I? What do I see? Where am I in this travel, in this quest for excellence, for ihsan, for taqwa? And then, of course, the last stage that we spoke about is that what we see. Are we in that place yet? If we're not in that place yet, and I am not, and many of us are not, it's a right thing for us this Ramadan, when the shayateen have been chained down. It's a right thing for us to strive to be there, so we become luminaries, in the way we behave, that in such a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased with us, and we are in the line of the behavior and the conduct and the character of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is what we did last time, and today the Sheikh said that he's summarizing. The topic is so vast of the suhbah, of the fellowship with the fellow travelers, is so vast that he wants to divide that into 20 short pieces of advice that we can actually internalize and try to practice on a daily basis. And so the first advice that the Sheikh gives us is that uh, ألا تحب للناس إلا ما تحب لنفسك. ألا تحب للناس إلا ما تحب لنفسك. That you don't love for people except that which you love for yourself. That you don't love for people except that which you love for yourself. This is so difficult. This is so difficult because we are such creatures that like to um, attain what others don't attain, have what others don't have. We like to have what others don't have. If I drive a bike, maybe I want other people. If I drive a bike, I want other people not to have legs, maybe, or if I have a car, nobody else should have a car. This is not the way of the Muslims, brothers and sisters. And I'm telling this to myself, first of all, that whatever you love for yourself, whatever you love for yourself, whatever job you want for yourself, whatever rank you want for yourself, whatever family you love for yourself, the same thing you should love for your fellow human being. The same thing you should love for your fellow human being. This is the first piece of advice that the Sheikh has given to us as a principle. And when you look at, I work in a charity, and we do take donations from people, mostly to give to poorer people in the world, and we take even used clothing to send to poor people. And the question arises, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not hide this from us. He says, لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You will never attain real piety, real taqwa, real ihsan, except that you that you give to people that which you desire for yourself. And this is the same principle that the Imam is talking about here. But but it's hard. It's very hard because human beings are simply we have an elitist thing strict about us. The nafs, the love for the nafs. The khair has to be for me. The khair has to be for me. I should have the best. It prevents us for wanting that which is good for other people, the same way as we want it to be for ourselves. So this is a challenge, and it's there that we must try very, very hard to prefer others to ourselves, or at least, if not prefer others to ourselves, but at least see what we like, and the same thing that we like it for other people. The worst situation here, of course, is that very often, we not only want good things to happen to us, but we don't want, if we see good things happening to other people, we want those good things to be taken away from them. We want those good things to be taken away from them. The perception of grace, the perception of blessedness in others hurt us. It hurts us. And so we want that goodness that other people have to be taken away from them. And that's called hasad. That's called, it's one of the worst traits that a human being can have is to desire that people's good things be taken away from them. Even if they're not given to you, you just don't see goodness in other people. You don't want to see people enjoy life. You don't want to see people have good jobs. You don't have to it's all about you and you and you, and nobody else counts. This is hasad. This is one of the worst diseases that anybody can have. May Allah protect us from this. If you see somebody that has a new car, you see someone that has a new car, it's a Telsa or something. What does your heart tell you? What is the first harak of your heart when you see that? Do you feel delight that somebody has a Telsa or something else that you don't have? When somebody's child gets admission to a big university, for example, Harvard or something, when you hear that news, what is it that comes to your heart? What does your heart say to you at that point? It's very, very, very dangerous, brothers and sisters, that we have these diseases of our heart in which we prefer ourselves to everybody else. This is such a very big struggle that we have. We have to address in our daily lives. We can pray all that we pray. We can fast. We can all this, but these issues, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the day when nothing benefits, not children, not man, except the one who comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a qalbun salim, a qalb that is free from these defects free from these defects of selfishness, of nafsaniya, of greed, of hasad. Only those that are free, whose hearts are free from this, are safe from this, are healthy from this, are the ones that would be benefited, and the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would really love to meet. May Allah make us worthy of that, inshallah ta'ala. So that's the first advice the Sheikh has given us. We can check ourselves on a daily basis to see how much we're striving to attain this this beautiful trait of really loving good things to happen to other people, really loving good things to happen to other people. And when we give, let us try to give of the best that we have, not the things that we don't like that we give to other people, because that contradicts the essence of لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. You don't attain piety except that you love, that you give that which you yourself love. What you love for yourself, you have to love for Fatima. What you love for yourself, you have to love for Ahmed. He's your brother, he's your sister. Love for them what you love for yourself. But this is such a challenge to the human heart. But as Muslims, we have to strive for this goal, to manifest beauty, and taqwa, and ihsan in our lives, to get the love and the approval of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's number one that I wanted to share with you today, the first advice of the Shaykh. أَلَا تُحِبَّ لِلنَّاسِ إِلَّا مَا تُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِكَ. أَلَا تُحِبَّ لِلنَّاسِ إِلَّا مَا تُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِكَ. There is actually a hadith that I think I should share with you of somebody, a young man came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he says, "Adin li bi zina, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make zina allowed to me, make it okay for me to." He loves, I don't know what it is, but he was very addicted possibly to zina, and he wants it to become halal for him. You can imagine how the Sahaba reacted with this. First of all, they didn't want to have him get close to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he got there, and this is his request, that zina should be made beloved, it should be allowed for him. You would imagine the Prophet would just, explode and say, how could you say that? How could you do this? He draws him close to him. This is Habib Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He draws the young man close to him, doesn't send him away, brings him close to him, and he says to him, would you like zina for your sister? He says no. Would you like zina for your aunt? He says no. Do you like zina for your mother? He says no, Bala. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in that wonderful encounter, fellowship with this young man, says, well, don't like for others what you don't like for yourself. And I think it touched his chest, and from that day on, that man never felt any more inclination to zina. Never more. But this is the Prophet Muhammad. The way he taught is different from the way most of us do teach. So this is the principle, that you don't love for others except that which you love for yourself. You love khair in people. You love to see people thrive. You love to people to prosper. Even if you don't get that which they get, it still brings love, it brings happiness to your heart. And you see how difficult this is. But we must strive. We must strive in this Ramadan on a daily basis to see how we can cultivate this trait of loving goodness for the people. And when you see goodness in people, that you rejoice and not feel a pinch of jealousy, or dislike. The second principle, which inshallah would be my last principle for today, is أن يتودع لكل أحد ولا يتفخر عليه. That, talking to myself, first of all, I must practice humility. I must be a humble person to everybody. He says لكل أحد, humble to every person. لكل أحد. This is. I mean, people don't know about Islam. They don't know what our Salaf have written. I mean, the elevated ethical principles of this faith are just mind-boggling. There's no mention of Muslim here. There's no mention of women here. There's no mention of anybody here. It's a universal imperative, a universal command that you are humble to everyone and you don't boast to anyone. You're humble to everyone and you don't boast to anyone. We are given, again, we're hierarchical people. We always want to feel that we are better than other people. There's a tendency in the human being. And this is the first sin that we know. أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْهُ خَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ نَارٍ. I cannot worship, I cannot make prostration to Adam alayhi salam. So says Iblis, because you made me you made him of tin, of dirt, and you made me of nar. How can I prostrate to this? How can I do that? He could not imagine himself made of nar and prostrating to that which is made of clay. That's the first sin ever that happened. The first sin that happened in the world that Allah created. So this is, people have all kinds of reasons to believe that they're better than people. On account of their physical beauty, maybe they feel that they've been endowed with beauty. The worst thing to be arrogant about is that which you have not caused to come about. The worst thing, your physical appearance, you didn't do anything to get it. The language that you speak, I mean, your tribe, you didn't do anything to get it. Your color, your complexion, you had nothing to do with this, nothing at all. So why would you consider yourself? Why should I consider myself superior to another person on account of my color that I had nothing to do with, on account of my passport? I mean, my nationality. In this case, some people do acquire nationality, but mostly people are they're born where they're born. They have nothing to do with the place they're born in. But then these are basis for many human beings to feel that they're superior to other people. Some of the most incredible experiences that I have myself is to meet people that are so wonderful. I was in Saudi Arabia for 2 years on sabbatical. I remember I have my friend, a professor there, a Saudi professor, very beautiful man, very nice friend of mine. We knew each other in Michigan State while I was there, and we used to go for Umrah together. And on the roadside, there are hotels, and you share a room. And he always makes sure that I sleep on the bed. He sleeps on the floor. He wanted me to. I don't know what it is, but I actually felt this man felt that I was, I don't know, superior, no, but at least equal to him. He's my host. He's my host, and he's a professor at the university. That's why I was in Saudi Arabia. But look at the way he treated me, and look how. And this last one, I'm going to give an example. I was very hesitant to say it. That really showed me what tawadu is, what humility is. I went once with the first retreat I had with the Sheikh Umar, Sheikh Mukhtar, was in New York. We were there for 10 days, a spiritual retreat. And at the end of it, I missed my flight coming back to California from New York area. And so he said, oh, well, come to my house, we'll stay together. Don't worry about this. You get a flight another time. So I came to his, before we came home, everybody had left the cabin, where we were staying at. Everybody had left. And the Sheikh went back. He's going to be very upset if he hears this, that I'm saying this. But he went back to the cabin, and you know what I was doing? He went to each person's room to pick up the trash that he left. And this is the Sheikh. He went, and my trepidation, my moment of, I don't know what to call it, is when he actually went into my room and I saw him stooping down to pick something that I left on the ground where I was sleeping. This is the word. You cannot feel anything but mahabba when you see a manifestation of this beautiful trait of a Muslim, which is to see everybody, if not equal, but also possibly your superior. Because at the end of the day, only Allah knows who is better than who. Only Allah knows, because superiority in Islam is based on taqwa. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The atqa among you could be somebody you would never expect to be the akram amongst you would be the person who you least expect, because they don't have the color maybe I'm looking for, they don't have the status I'm looking for, but in the heart of Allah, these are the people He loves. May Allah grace us with this discipline to imbibe these characteristics, to cultivate these beautiful traits in Ramadan, and so we can watch ourselves as we proceed, and every day check ourselves. What have I done? How did I live? How did I conduct myself? Am I getting better on a daily basis? I hope we do get better on a daily basis, and we get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as we journey through this month of mercy, the month of Ramadan. I will stop here today, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.